Hello everyone, Elspeth here, and today we are in our wonderful Sky Palace, which I have not visited for quite some time, as you may remember. This is what I was working on live on Twitch, and it's going to be a little while before I get back into live streaming. So I decided to go ahead and do a video instead, and it is sped up, so you will see a few parts that don't look quite so good. I try not to speed it up too much, so there isn't a lot of that, but there's definitely going to be a few places where it looks a little glitchy because of that. And this is actually a project that was suggested by Hansen, one of my viewers. As I was finishing up my last big project on live stream, I asked for suggestions, and she suggested doing a Sky Palace, which I really appreciate. I'm having a lot of fun with this. I think it's going to look really cool once it's all done. And I'm really excited to see how big I can make it. I'm not even remotely close to really being finished with this. I've got so much more I can do on it. But today, a lot of what I did was to finish up the lower part of that little sky garden thing. Garden viewing area, however you want to think about it. I was trying to decide how I wanted to go around that and what I could do that wouldn't block the view as you were standing in the garden looking down. And I decided that the best thing to do would be to create kind of this little protected area for it we're still maintaining the decorative golden look, but this will not only make it look really nice when you're looking down through the glass, because you're going to have this really big uninterrupted area for viewing, but it's also going to make it look really cool when you're looking up from the ground. Now, granted, just because of distances, you're really not going to be able to see that much if you went down to the ground and looked up at this, but I'm hoping that it will stand out a bit. And I don't know, I might try to do something to make it stand out a little bit more from the ground. I'll see kind of how that looks and if I have any great ideas. And if you have any ideas about what might make it really kind of stand out and look really exceptional from the ground level, let me know in the comments, by all means. But that's kind of the biggest thing that I'm working on today, is getting that pretty much finished up and making sure that it's ready for me to start building around it, because I want to start expanding the palace out around it before I start working on the upper levels a whole lot. Sometimes it's a lot easier to finish level 1 before going on to level 2. And this will allow me to do that without worrying about interfering with the view or anything like that. So that's very nice to have that protected and out of the way. Unfortunately, it is. I can just see the glitchiness as I speed it up. But I did go ahead and cut out doing the other side because I was doing the exact same thing all the way around. So I didn't really think that I needed to make you guys watch all of that. The other thing, excuse me. The other thing that I'm working on today is kind of finishing off a lower level for this front section of the palace. I'd kind of talked about this level down here being more of a servant's level, and I kind of got to thinking about whether this would really be the bottom level, and I decided that it shouldn't be. There should be another level below this. So I got that fleshed out today. And you can see I'm using F6 to add in blocks quickly and easily. Sometimes I don't double click the way you have to get it to recognize a new block. Just selecting a block isn't enough. You have to actually double click. But once you get it, this is really, I think this is the best way to handle large builds. If you have a large section of wall or flooring that you need to put in, I think that it's much easier to just go and do it with F6. If you want to have some kind of a design or decoration inside the wall, you can always come back later and just remove certain blocks to change them out. But if you know that the majority of your wall or floor is going to be one block, then it's much easier to do it with F6. And there I was just kind of closing off the staircase. I think it looked a little bit better closed off instead of that weird openness. And yeah, I'm still, you can see me making a lot of mistakes in this. Not only have I not been recording videos or live streaming, but I really haven't even been playing the game for the summer. So as I'm kind of getting back into it, I have to kind of remind my fingers what they're doing, so that I'm not selecting the wrong thing, clicking the wrong mouse button. Fortunately, this game is very forgiving and you can undo and redo things pretty easily, which is really great. So here I'm starting on the first staircase down to the next level, which I'm really happy with how these staircases turned out. It's always a kind of a tough decision between just using blocks and actually going through with the plank and beam and creating an actual staircase. Now, I'm more likely to go through with planks and beams and create much more detailed things when I'm working on a smaller level. With a project like this is so big that if I were to try and use planks and beams for even just the majority of it, it would take so long to do. So that's why you really don't see me doing that a whole lot in these types of builds, because it would take an unrealistic amount of time considering how much I'm trying to do. Now, that's not to say that I wouldn't ever use planks and beams for certain things in these larger builds, but they would be more kind of one-off decorative specialty areas or items, not really a general theme throughout the build. So, I know people, or I shouldn't say I know people, I have seen people create things that are almost completely plank and beam. And I'm extremely impressed with how they did that, with the amount of time that they put into that, the attention to detail, the dedication. It's amazing. I am not at the point where I really want to do that yet. So I'm gonna stick with the blocks for a lot of things. And here you can see I've got the floor in, and I started to think about what this would look like from the outside. And that's why I decided to go and add, I guess, the second layer of flooring, because I want the palace to look like one cohesive object, one cohesive structure. So that means that the exterior is going to have the same texture and coloring, which is why I did that. And then inside, it will be different. So there will be places where I am using 2 layers of blocks, like with this. Totally fine. You know, that happens. We do that. And there will be other places where I might try to use wood planks as kind of a wall paneling. We'll see how that goes and how often I need to do that. That's something that I'll keep in the back of my mind, but I'm not really going to know exactly until I get to the point where I actually have to do it, you know. Overall, I am very pleased with how this is turning out as a whole. I like the color combinations together. I do want to do something nicer, more decorative and inviting at this front part. Like these garden beds that I'm putting in, I want them to actually have... I don't necessarily want it to just be flower gardens, right? That's, I guess, normal, traditional, kind of boring. But I want it to be something kind of along those lines. I mean, I might put in other plants. I will put in other plants. Might. I don't know. It's early in the morning. I'm recording the commentary before I go to work, and I haven't had a lot of coffee. So, if I say something that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, I do apologize. But, like I said, I haven't had a lot of coffee. Now, this part, kind of trying to think about how far back I want the wall to come, and if I want it to wrap around. That's, I guess you could say that's kind of still a little bit fluid and up in the air, because I don't know. Oh, wow. Yeah, I love this. I love the fog in this game. I know it creeps some people out. I know it irritates some people, but I love it. To me, this is just so amazing. This like thick pea soup kind of fog where you just can't see anything. That's the coolest thing to me. What Red has done with the weather in this game is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. So again, here I'm coming through and putting in like a second layer so that this lower level has the look that I'm going for, the basement look that I want. And then the outside will still be that nice green patterned texture. But then you'll have this inside that's kind of like, it really does. To me, this feels like servants' quarters. You know, like the working areas of a palace. It's not the nice area that the guests and the visiting dignitaries see. This is the raw, nitty-gritty, we do actual work down here. It doesn't have to look good kind of area. And just, again, I think my biggest thing with stairs is trying to make sure that I don't cut my head off when I'm going down them. I know I've fiddled an awful lot in probably, I think, every single staircase I've ever built. I've ended up fiddling around with it, trying to get it just right. And some of them I'm happier with than others. We'll just leave it at that. This is one that I think overall, looking at the stairs as a complete whole, I'm pretty happy with the way they turned out. Now, I'll also mention, and I say this a lot, but as I'm doing these big builds, the first thing that I'm doing is really just the major construction part of it. I will come back later, either when I'm done with the major construction or when I want to break from it, whichever comes first. I will come back later and try and put in small details, little decorative things like that. So if you're looking at this and thinking, gosh, that looks kind of plain, aren't you going to do anything else with it? Well, yeah, I am, just not right now. And here again, I cut out the part about me making the second staircase because it's really identical to the first. So I'm trying to not make you guys sit through like 40 minutes of me building. Partly because I really don't have 40 minutes worth of conversation. So I don't want to inflict that on you. I can talk for about 20 minutes or so and tell you what I'm doing and what's going on. But when I'm doing things like, oh, here, we're building 2 staircases, one on either side. Yeah, that's not really, you can only say so much about that, you know? And instead of speeding up future videos, just because I'm not really loving the way this one looks, and I did, by the way, I did actually manage to record this in OBS, which is really great because I haven't been able to record Rising World with OBS for a very long time. So that's a cool thing. But it doesn't look very good when it's sped up. So that's really a shame. And I don't know, that's probably less a function of OBS and more a function of the video editing software, which I need to work on that too. I really haven't done anything over the summer. Not a single thing. So everything that I needed to get done, I still need to get done. And this is just 2 entrances, kind of like I was going to do the one, but I didn't really like the way it looked because I can't make the doors wider. So I decided kind of an in and an out entrance, thinking that this would be probably an area that servants would be coming in and out of pretty frequently. Like the kitchen would be down here. Probably some other areas that they might need to access frequently. I don't know if somebody wants, I really don't know, like an extra blanket or something, maybe. But I was just thinking that the one entrance door and one exit door would probably be a better way to do that, since I can't make the doors nice and wide. And then here, really just kind of going around, finishing up so that those levels are at least structurally complete. Like I said, I'll go back and do details later. And of course the interior rooms, those will all happen later too. But we are getting very close to the end of the video, so I wanted to say thank you very much for checking it out. If you are enjoying the videos, please subscribe for more and hit that like button. Comment if you have any ideas that you would like to share, or if you just want to say hi. It's always great to hear from all of you. So thank you very, very much for spending some time with me. And I will be playing around with some different video formats just because I don't really like the way Rising World looks when you speed it up. So I'll be working on that to come up with something that looks better. And I hope to see you in the next video. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a great day.